The following podcast contains alcohol-enhanced conversations about alcohol, as well as the potential for the discussion about topics of dubious, disturbing, possibly offensive, but usually hilarious interest. The opinions stated herein are solely of the persons making them, and any endorsement of these opinions by any other party is not implied. Foul language is likely, but intolerant viewpoints are not. Listener intoxication is advised. Hello and welcome to episode 60 of the Neat Glass sponsored Whiskey Tangent podcast. I'm Scott.
I'm Ed.
And today on our 12th whiskey cocktail episode, we're going to be exploring ones that break the long-established rules of mixology in one way or another. Everything from using additional base spirits, too much bitters, and liqueurs made from strange vegetables. In other words, we're going rogue. Joining us on this excursion into the kind of crazy side of whiskey concoctions, our good friends from the lounge, back again in studio for the first time in over a year. First, the whiskey power couple, Rachel.
Hi.
And Marty.
Hey, how you doing?
And the person without whom no cocktail episode is truly complete, Anders, the master mixologist.
10,000 years will give you such a crick in the neck.
And so Ed, as he is contractually obligated to do, will start us off by listing the 3 nonconformist cocktails with which we'll be crushing classic cocktail conventions tonight.
Yes, thanks, Scott. First of all, cannot believe how long it took to get Anders back in the studio.
Yeah.
He hasn't been on an episode since January.
Yeah, 50 at the lounge, though.
Yeah.
10 episodes. Missed the whiskey madness.
Yeah.
Scheduling conflict. We was doing the secret mission with NASA we talked about.
Right, we talked about all that. Yeah.
And then-
but he can't talk about it.
Right, traveling the world, searching for the perfect vermouth, which we had already done, so we don't know what that was about. Back in the episode for When Your Vermouth Matters with Marty and Rachel.
Right.
So today, as we delve into rogue cocktails, we're going to have 3 rounds, as we tend to do. Do you want me to list all 3, Scott?
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
so for round 1,
List
we're
all
going to
3.
do something called the Fatigue. Mm-hmm. It's going to have Tennessee whiskey, cherry liqueur, and Peychaud's bitters. For round 2, the Teenage Riot.
Teenage Riot.
Open up a bottle of beer.
Open up a bottle of beer. Teenage Riot.
Drink till you can't see clear.
It's a Teenage Riot.
Oh, man.
For the crickets to dissipate.
Yeah, the crickets and go.
So the Teenage Rye comes with a rye, a Cynar liqueur,
Right.
which is
The strange vegetable I
Right.
mentioned in the intro.
keep it as a mystery, but it's a very strange based liqueur.
Yeah.
A dry vermouth, a dry sherry, and orange bitters. As in, Ed, aren't you bitter with life? And like, yes.
God.
So round 3 will be
terrible.
You're terrible. As is life. Except today, because we have good friends and good drinks.
That's true.
Round 3, the burn popcorn will have bourbon and rum, right?
Yeah.
Demerara syrup.
Right.
Even when I say it right, I think it's wrong. Angostura bitters and orange bitters combined for a very interesting concoction.
Yes. Yes.
So 3 rounds, 3 cocktails, and getting ready to do the fatigue. But go ahead, Scott. Tell us your glib little intro you always have.
Yeah. So glib.
Entertain us.
Entertain us, monkey. So the reason for this was I came upon a book of cocktails just mentioned online in something else that I happened to be researching. And it sort of caused the more recent cocktail explosion in the United States. And so I have a little bit of history about that. And then I want to get Anders' take as well as what the regular rules are that we're going to be breaking tonight.
Right. It wasn't really quite a book, though, Scott. It wasn't quite a book.
Wasn't
Scott and
quite
I,
a
we were hiking down in Central America in the excavated city of Tikal by the Mayans, and we'd climbed the 187-foot tower of the Jaguar, and up into the sacrificial room at the top. There was a little secret compartment, and if you maneuvered it, it opened up another set of stairs, and we climbed down into secret compartment, and there were some scrolls, and on those scrolls were these 3 cocktails. under different names, of course. We don't know the exact hieroglyphics that they had there.
You don't speak Nahua?
I don't speak it, no. And I believe this was part of the Mayan hieroglyphics that were destroyed by the mean Spanish conquistadors who burned all the codex.
Well, I wish that was true because that's much more interesting than...
That's what happened. That's not what happened?
In actuality, the scrolls were a stone tablet in Tenochtitlan at the Temple of Quetzalcoatl.
There we go.
Wow.
Right.
Wow.
One of those three things, either a book he came across, or it was in Central America at the Mayan temple, or wherever the hell Anders was. But all these artifacts have been brought together to give us these three special cocktails today.
Right. So ignoring all of that, the actual
If you
story
can.
from a VinePair article entitled Rogue Cocktails, the Revolutionary Recipe Book that Ushered Cocktail Creation into a New Era. Over the past 20 years, hundreds of cocktail books have been published, marking what is probably the greatest literary output on the subject in the history of mixed drinks. But only some can claim the mantle of influential, including Dale DeGroff's The Craft of Cocktail, Gary Regan's The Joy of Mixology, and Sasha Petrasky's Regarding Cocktails. But when you compare the size and distribution of these books with their ultimate impact, the slim tome titled Rogue Cocktails and its sequel Beta Cocktails have to be ranked as equal contenders. The twin volumes, one black and one white, and both looking like manuals that come with an appliance, were the impassioned work of two fed-up New Orleans mixologists. Containing just 50 drinks from 20 bartenders, the book served up ideas that were, at the time, both radical and a bit odd. The authors, Kirk Estepanal and Maxim Pazuniak, worked at Cure, the first significant craft cocktail bar in New Orleans, which opened in 2009. And for a couple of upstarts working at an upstart joint, they were pretty disgusted with the cocktail status quo. Said Kirk, "We were looking to get inspired because basically everybody stole Dale DeGroff's book and reprinted it, which in itself was a compilation of old recipes that had been in books before. And so, on a sleepy Tuesday night shift at Cure, the two men passed the time bandying new drink ideas back and forth when Kirk remembered one he had discovered just a few years earlier while working at the Violet Hour in Chicago. Called the Angostura Sour, the drink calls for 1.5 ounces of Angostura bitters, the pungent potion typically used only in dashes. Kirk made it for Max and blew his friend's mind. It kicked off all these ideas in my head. Max remembers, I mean, if we can make a cocktail with that much Ango, we can do anything. And the duo did do anything. First, they took the template for the Violet Hour's Pimm's Cup, replaced the Pimm's with Peychauds, and created the Gunshot Fizz, which then planted a desire to publish a new cocktail book that would shake up the industry. But to do that, they needed more cocktails. So they sent their Gunshot Fizz recipe to the like-minded bartender friends asking for similar dogma-busting drinks in return. And the recipes flowed in. Some were Chicago cocktails Kirk already knew about but felt like a good fit with their ethos, including the Art of Choke, containing rum and Cynar, an Italian liqueur made from artichokes, which despite employing lime juice is stirred, not shaken. Cynar, in fact, is used in 13 of the cocktails in both books, with other oft-used ingredients including herb saint, punta mace, chartreuse, and mezcal. Eager to get their ideas out to the public as quickly as possible, the duo self-published and self-distributed only 420 copies of their booklet, primarily handing them out to friends and colleagues during a cocktail convention in 2009. And from there, it gained a cult-like status. In fact, after a cease and desist letter from Rogue Spirits put an end to further printings of the original book, it only served to burnish its underground reputation and prompted the second, slightly revised book containing a few more recipes. Written primarily for bartenders, the two books ended up changing cocktail culture forever. Because it wasn't just a list of recipes they published, it was a revelatory and revolutionary new theory of cocktail creation, prompting a new wave of weird cocktails to take their proper place on menus nationwide. So Anders, that whole story, had you heard of Rogue Cocktails, and was it 2009 about when you started getting into bartending?
About. Slightly after.
Okay.
I want to say around 2011 is when I started.
Okay. So this might have already sort of been going on.
It definitely was, and a lot of the books that you mentioned are actually at the lounge because I refer to them pretty frequently.
Yeah.
Like before or after work when I'm coming up with ideas. They're good references and they're beautiful books.
Yeah.
A lot of those concepts are really helpful, but at the same time, a lot of them rhyme. And I found in kind of creating my own recipes and way of doing things that you'd like kind of cross-reference things. It's like having a couple of cookbooks. All right, this person tends to go a little bit lighter in how much citrus they use. This person tends to favor more herbal elements in like Amaro instead of using citrus. Like, where do I kind of like find my taste sour?
Yeah.
Marty, when did you first make cocktails?
I was just thinking about that, and I was trying to think of any books or anything that I used way back when. I'm thinking probably 85, 86 is when I started. And, of course, we always had that little bartender's guide booklet.
Yeah, my parents had that like Rolodex thing they would click through, and there would have
That's a good book, actually.
It had all the standard ones.
But what I really remember is Rogue is totally different way back then, but peach schnapps came out.
Oh,
now there's 20 peach schnapps drinks, right? Yeah. And nobody knew how to make them because where did they come from?
Right.
And there was stuff flying around that bartenders had to, use and learn how to make. I mean, easy stuff, but still new stuff, right? Yeah. So it kind of reminds me of that on a lower level.
I remember Mr. Boston. That was a big recipe book.
Yep. Still around.
Still around, yeah.
Guess who owns Mr. Boston?
Campari.
Think more vampiric.
Oh,
Sazerac. Poorly bad.
Partly bad.
So, when I think of traditional cocktails, like the Manhattan and the old fashioned, and what people think of as whiskey cocktails, it's basically what you have your whiskey, you have a sour, a sweet, and a bitter, sort of.
So usually you would take a sweet and then either a sour or a bitter.
Okay.
And it depends. So Amaro, like you kind of mentioned, with like the Cynar or, Averna, like in a Black Manhattan, you're going to use a little bit more volume, but sometimes you use something concentrated like bitters where you use less of it.
Right.
So in the fatigue, we're breaking that rule.
We are breaking the rule with the fatigue. And that's our first drink. Round one. So the fatigue, I made it because there's really no craft to this. It's equal parts of the three ingredients that we have. So it's an ounce of Tennessee whiskey. Jack Daniels was not mentioned, so I didn't use Jack Daniels. Instead, I'm going to use the Elvis Tennessee whiskey that we have. It's sourced from somewhere in Tennessee. I don't know exactly where. I can't remember. Right. Go back and to listen to that episode if you want to find out, because I didn't. An ounce of maraschino liqueur and a full ounce of Peychaud's bitters.
Wow.
Yeah. So the rules that this is breaking is bitters, only used in dashes. We're using a full ounce per drink. And this was actually shaken, not stirred.
Oh, that's fun.
And so, Anders, describe why people might want to shake a drink versus not shaking it.
Okay. So generally you want to shake things with juice and stir things that do not have any juice. So lemon, lime, orange juice, any other kind of juice that you might put into your cocktails, you're going to want to shake that. The reason why is because in addition to chilling and diluting a cocktail, shaking also adds a significant amount of air.
Right.
And those little air bubbles that you naturally get, which you'll notice more with something like a pineapple juice, like if you're making a tiki drink, those help the juice taste better. And you also get a little bit more dilution generally. You're going to stir things without juice because you want a little bit more control. You don't need that air element, and you can control the amount of dilution and cold that you get in.
All right, cool.
I'm already saying a half ounce of bitters would have been the way to go on this. Before I even try it, it already sounds terrible.
You love Campari, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it smells great.
I like licorice.
It does smell like
Peychaud's
licorice.
has a big anise component, right?
It does.
Yeah.
I guess if you used an ounce of it, yeah.
Yeah, well, right. I really like the smell of it.
Peychaud would love this drink to take off so they could sell more than like one bottle a year to everybody.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Oh, wow.
That's nice.
It comes in waves almost. This does kind of taste a bit like a Boulevardier because it has the sweet to the bitter, but it has
not as bitter.
It's not as bitter.
It's not as bitter as Campari.
No, and it has that cherry component is really loud in the middle of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I could do a splash more whiskey on this, but I don't hate this.
Yeah.
No,
I mean,
What?
doesn't the bitterness ends. It doesn't continue on.
Yes.
Like a Campari does.
Yeah, agreed. That's what happens. It all sort of just ends abruptly together.
It ends with the sweet. The cherry liqueur is so sweet.
So sweet.
So what was the ratio?
It was 1 to 1 to 1.
Which cherry
Equal parts of
liqueur
each. I
are you using?
used Luxardo.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Maraschino.
Yeah.
Awesome. This is good. This is the way to go. You could always add more whiskey to kind of like widen the base, but
Yeah.
you don't have to. I think the medicinal quality of the Luxardo kind of helps support it a lot.
Yeah.
The sweetness works really well with the whiskey, and that like kind of floral tartness.
Yeah, it's very complex.
With the bitters, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just curious, what's the alcohol content on the bitters? Because I know those usually tend to be pretty high.
Oh, that's
I'm thinking,
a good question.
I'm thinking an ounce and an ounce and an ounce. Jeez.
Don't worry
Booze
about
on
it.
booze on booze, yeah.
But
70 proof.
okay, yeah.
Yeah, 70 proof.
That's
And
Not
then,
so bad.
and then the whiskey,
It's about 90. Close
yeah,
enough.
90s, right? And then the maraschino liqueur also has a proof, but it's pretty low. I think that's probably around like
Yeah, that's
40
around like
proof.
Yeah, I'm liking this. I'm trying to think of
40
some
to
kind
70.
of, of course, when we say Boulevardier, I'm thinking, do we need a twist or something? But then it has like a licorice, cherry, I don't know, vibe to it.
Oh, actually,
I
this
don't
was
know what would
supposed
go
to
good with that.
This was actually supposed to be garnished with a lemon peel.
Okay, yeah, that's what I'm
Actually,
sort of was
that
thinking
would
about.
brighten it.
That would
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, maybe I'll just shave off a little bit and then spritz that in there, see what happens.
If I could do a change, I think I would go with a different Tennessee whiskey.
Yeah. The whiskey was kind of mild.
Yeah, I think like Uncle Nearest would be really good in this.
Ooh, which one though?
So it's not the boozier of the two, but the 1884 has this really cool kind of honeysuckle note that I always get that I think would work really well with the bitters. I'd want to try that. I'm going to try the other one too, just because
Oh, wow. Like, and this is incredible how much just a spritz of the lemon peel added to this drink, because what's missing is a little bit of citrus.
A little brightness. Even
Yeah.
just like because you just spritzed it.
Yeah.
It was kind of in the air. Without it, it felt a little bit, I'm going to be a little contrarian. It felt a little bit like a cherry cough drop.
Yeah.
Like that.
Okay.
That was the
No.
flavor that stuck with me.
No,
and I
that-
felt
that's
like
fair.
this brightened it up.
So,
little bit
okay.
more.
Yeah.
How did you like it overall, Rachel?
I did like it.
Yeah.
So I wasn't trying to diss it with a cherry
No, sure.
cocktail.
No.
That
No,
was a
it's all-
tasting note. Not a diss on the bartender.
Right.
No, I enjoyed it, but I enjoy the bitter, right? So the Boulevardier, Campari.
Right. So you would add a little more bitters then.
Well, no.
No. Okay.
No, but the brightness, I think having the brightness, and
Sure.
I don't know if a different whiskey, like Anders said, that might have had a different
Yeah.
flavor note.
This
Yeah.
whiskey is very nondescript for a Tennessee whiskey. I
So
just
it
happen to
brought
have
nothing
it.
to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I wonder maybe a Jack Daniels, what that would do with it, because that
Yeah.
has like a banana note. I don't know if that
Yeah.
would interfere or not.
I don't know.
It doesn't scream Jack Daniels to me, unless you go for something upgraded, like maybe the Bonded or something.
Yeah. Right.
This is like a whiskey drink for people who like gin.
Interesting.
It's like got a Negroni feel to it.
Because it has all those herbal notes in there. Agreed. Yeah.
Good. This is my gateway back to gin, then, is what you're saying.
Especially as it disappears down your throat. And
Yeah.
What's left,
Okay.
what's left, like on the back of your tongue, is like you breathe out. It's like almost you had a gin.
Yeah.
It's much better than I expected. It's really a nice combination of flavors. The cherry will be so sweet, but it gets completely neutralized by an ounce of bitters.
Yeah, it is a surprising drink.
So what do we got? Everybody yay, nay? Where are we at? Anybody hate it?
I think it's pretty good.
No.
Yay.
I
I'd,
really liked
I'd
it.
make it again.
I think if you were really full, something like this, and I know people
like an after dinner
do,
drink, yeah.
people do bitters if they're feeling a little bit,
Yeah.
Yeah,
or
I
the
see what
day
you're saying.
after, right?
Yeah,
So
right.
Yeah.
I feel like this has that kind of.
Digestif.
Digestif, yeah.
Bitters. Yeah.
All right. Well, we're going to take a break.
Yeah, we'll come back with the Teenage Riot.
Teenage Riot.
Round two.
All right, we're back from making the second drink, the Teenage Riot. We've been eating some apple roses, which Rachel brought, which are just delicious. They're like little mini apple pies.
Right.
They're divine.
She did it because we were doing rogue cocktails, so she did rose dessert.
I love it.
And so Scott's going to tell us a little bit about the main surprise ingredient here, the Cynar.
Yes, and the Teenage Riot that Anders made for us. But before we get to the drink that he made, we're going to try a little bit of the Cynar by itself, because I have never had it. And we've seen it on the shelves. We were talking during the break, and we all thought it kind of might have been like a vermouth or something.
Right, it's a green glass bottle with red label, bright red label.
Yeah. There is an
tomorrow,
artichoke on it. There's an artichoke on the
right.
bottle.
Is there?
Yeah,
So surprise, it's an artichoke liqueur.
Oh my God.
it's right there.
I thought it was grapes. I never put it together.
I know, I
It
never
is-
did
it's
either.
An artichoke. Holy cow.
Yeah.
It could even be like an agave thing. Like, oh, we made this vermouth out of agave. But no, it's an artichoke.
Next white elephant at work.
There you go.
I'm doing
Cynar.
it. I'm doing it.
That's a good one.
It's only 33 proof, so it's very low proof.
Yeah. All right. So this is an Italian bitter aperitif made from 13 herbs and plants, predominantly artichoke, after whose scientific name, Cynara scolamus. The drink is branded dark brown with bitter sweet flavor. Its strength is 16.5 ABV. Europeans often mix it with orange juice. Argentinians mix it with grapefruit soda. And Brazilians mix it with cachaça and sweet vermouth to make rabo de galo, which literally means tail of rooster in Portuguese. It was launched in Italy in 1952, but since 1995 has been manufactured and distributed by the Campari Group.
Yeah, they've been doing a lot recently.
Yeah.
We have these in our neat glasses. And once again, the serious drinkers out there, which is anyone who drinks whiskey, by the way, that's you.
That's you.
If you don't own at least 2 neat glasses, I think you should have 6, but if you at least 2 neat glasses, then please go to neatglass.com and order yourself a set. And if you put in whiskey tan with your first order as a code, you'll get 10% off of Scott and me and the gang at Neat Glass.
Boom.
What does this smell like too? This smells so familiar to
Yeah,
me.
it's really
like
familiar.
Campari.
Yeah.
Campari. Yeah. Yeah. That's what I was missing. But not citrusy.
Not citrusy, but the herbal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It has the herbal undertones of Campari, which is probably why the Campari Group was like, yeah, come on board because you're just like us.
Join us.
I mean, obviously, Andres has had this before. He was just telling a story off the air where he worked at a bar where they had to take like a quarter ounce of everything.
The quarter pour challenge. So I worked at a bar where tradition dictated that on your last day of working at the bar that had a well of like 60, 70 things, you would have to have a quarter ounce of everything in the well over the course of your like 13-hour day for your last shift. So starting with simple syrup, Dema-Ra-Ra simple syrup, lemon juice.
Oh my God.
Lime juice, sweet vermouth, other sweet vermouth, dry vermouth. And then you'd go to the actual bottle. So it's like triple sec, Cointreau.
Oh my God.
And at the very end of this well, for fancy expensive drinks that we didn't really use, El Dorado 15, Auchentoshan 15, things like that, culminating that if you were able to drink around like 13 ounces of stuff, liquid, over the course of 13-hour shift, you would be treated to a quarter ounce of Pappy 23 as a final send-off.
Wow.
I saw lives destroyed this way. But this was the first time I had a Cynar taste the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, to me, Cynar's taste buds are there to be ruined by this thing.
It is really sweet in the beginning.
For like a split second, it's like you have like burnt sugar on your tongue, and then evil comes. It's like then Campari comes, and that's what it tastes like. It tastes like Campari to me.
This actually doesn't taste as bitter as Campari is. Because Campari tastes much more bitter than this. But yeah, it's the same.
I can't believe it's so terrible.
It's the same thing. Well, see, if you like bitter, you can get it, but you don't like it, so it's awful squared for you.
This by itself is it's okay, but this tastes like it would be great in
a cocktail. Yeah.
So
People drink it with Coke too.
Oh, do they? Yeah.
The lowest mixed drink ever, like a 33% liqueur and Coke.
Yeah.
Have fun drinking that for 10 hours before you feel a buzz. Stupid ass Italian drinkers.
Random belligerence. Slightly racist edition.
Hater. You're just a hater.
Trying to figure out what this, the front end is sweet,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
it sticks around well past the bitterness when I swallow it. It's really strange. And I can't.
You
put my
can still
finger on
taste
it.
some of the sweetness there.
Yeah, it just sticks in the front of my mouth.
Yeah, it's very dry too.
It's a nightmare. Anyway, so the drink Teenage Riot.
Yeah, the drink Teenage Riot. An ounce and a half of Rittenhouse Rye, an ounce and a half of Cynar, a half ounce of Dolin dry vermouth, a half an ounce of the Lustau Amontillado, and 2 dashes of orange bitter. So this is the exact recipe with a twist of lemon from the book Rogue Cocktails.
The Teenage Riot.
There's not a whole lot on the nose. It's slightly sweet.
Interestingly so.
Wow.
So this does one of my favorite things in cocktails. Often you want to use ingredients that work cohesively. That's the rule. However, if you want to go rogue,
Like this.
sometimes you can use ingredients that fight each other, that don't make sense together. And because they're such strong flavors, they kind of support each other.
Which are the ones that are fighting for you?
Everything, really?
The entire. Well, maybe that's why it's called Teenage Riot, because everything's fighting against each other.
Yeah. Part of the interesting element to this is that the rule that you're breaking is there's no inherently sweet element The Cynar is like a digestif and a Dema-Ra-Oh. It's supposed to be your bitter element. The dry vermouth is supposed to essentially be your bitter element.
Yeah.
Your dry sherry is supposed to be your like bitter sour element. Your orange bitters is supposed to be your bitter
Citrusy
element.
bitter element. Yeah.
Exactly. So everything is doing that, but because of what they chose to the degree and the balance of it, it's almost like you have a subtle sweet element to all four of those.
Yeah.
They're adding it up so that there's just enough sweetness to balance the drink, even though you're using all bitter elements.
It's amazing because there is a burst of sweetness, similar to how the Cynar is.
Yeah.
Initially, we take a sip, it's like, oh, it's sweet. And then it's like,
all these other
bitter.
strange bitter flavors.
And it fires like bitter, and then it just kind of finishes.
Yeah, I mean, you're right that there's no sweet in this. I mean, it's a rye, first of all. The base of the spirit is rye. Well, actually, it's kind of split between the rye and the Cynar.
Yeah, it's like a split-based cocktail.
It's so much Cynar.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that's another rule break, right? Using that much of
Cynar, yeah.
And 2 fortified wines in the same drink. That's another rule break.
And one herbal, one is sour.
Yeah.
And the bitters is citrusy.
So what are we tasting? Like, I'm tasting this and it kind of tastes oddly a little bland in the middle. Like it's sweet immediately and then you get a lot of the bitter stuff and then it kind of just disappears and then there's a nicer bitter finish.
You know what it reminds me of? Drinking sweet vermouth on the rocks.
Yeah. It kind of does taste like that.
In a way, if
all by itself.
If it's like a maybe Cokie or something with a real
with
like a bitter, almost like a grapefruit, funky under.
Yeah, not taste. The Carpana, but definitely the Cokie is reminiscent of that.
Because the Carpana is not as bitter as this.
Yeah.
If I had a suggestion, I'd hit it with a shot of seltzer.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, just
seltzer and
lighten the sweetness, lighten the bitter up a little bit, and a little more citrus.
Give it a little bit of effervescence.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, the more I drink it, the more I like it because the more the sweetness comes out.
Yeah.
Because I think also, since we tasted the Cynar right in front of it, that might have been affecting our palate immediately because I wasn't really getting a lot, but I'm getting more on it now that I'm drinking more of it. And it's a good thing it's a 4-ounce cocktail.
Here's a question. Which do you like better, the first or the second so far?
I like the first one better.
I like the first one better too, a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of it for me. This is way more bitter on the finish than the first
But I don't hate this because I like the bitterness of it.
I see what it's doing. I don't like it. I don't like it, but I'm not hating on it.
Rachel, you like bitter stuff. Do you like this?
I like this. I like the first one better.
Okay.
But exactly what Marty said. I would have this with some soda and maybe half an orange rind. But then I was like, well, then it's a Campari spritzer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like this more.
Do you? Okay.
Which is unlike my palate.
Yeah. You do like more sweeter candy note kind of stuff.
Yeah. But this has like a richness to it.
That's true.
And I really like the layers to it. It's almost like every element structured so that it takes you through an evolution where you always have the sweetness of each individual ingredient hit you at that point.
Yeah.
I enjoy it for the taste in and of itself, but also I really appreciate the artistry of this drink. It's really good.
Yeah. I feel like the first one was a rogue cocktail that, despite how much bitters was in it, actually ended up being really balanced, where this one is definitely a rogue cocktail, really breaking all the rules, and it shouldn't be good at all, frankly. Yeah. And it's, again, better than you think it's going to be.
That's true.
Because of that.
Yep.
If anyone likes the Boulevardier, they would at least enjoy aspects of it.
And like I'm saying, I think I'm coming around to Anders now. That I'm drinking more and more. It's becoming quite nice.
Oh, you're such a trend puppy.
I just think it's overly bitter at the end. I can't get over that. It's still in my throat. I mean,
that's how I am with every Campari. Every Boulevardier I've ever had, I feel the same way.
Yeah, this is not for someone who likes their old fashions.
No. Yeah, but if a bar wanted to do a twist on it, call it like a Boulevardier Riot and like let people kind of know what they're dealing with, because Teenage Riot they might not order, but if they're like a Boulevardier Riot, you're like, oh, what's that? Well, it's like a Boulevardier, but instead of the Campari, we use Cynar and a dry sherry. I think it'd be a way for a local bar to suck people into trying this drink.
Yeah,
because I don't think they would try a Teenage Riot when they're looking for a Boulevardier.
No, I got you. Like, just change the name up a little bit to make it sound like something that they already know.
Make your bar a little more interesting and just make you look like you're doing some stuff, which I think all bars try to do.
Did anyone taste artichoke in the Cynar?
No,
not at all.
No, I didn't really get a vegetal note there.
I got the herbaceousness, but I did not get at all.
Yeah, I mean, I've had an artichoke dip. I think that's like the last baked
I grew it in my garden, but nothing like this.
Wait, what?
You grew artichokes in your garden?
Who grows artichokes in your garden?
Well, Rachel does.
I've never met anybody walking around the street that goes, oh yeah, I grow my own artichokes.
The flowers are beautiful.
Are they?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
But then you can't eat it if you let it flower.
Oh, interesting. You have to cut it before it flowers.
Yeah.
Huh.
Learn something new every day.
Look, yeah, horticulture.
Way off topic. Way off topic.
Well, it's a horticulture tangent.
Wow. Yeah, where do we go with that?
I don't know.
Anders, so Cynar, what is the most popular drink you make with Cynar? Or what is the most popular drink out there that's made with Cynar, you think?
Cynar and Coke and like Fernet and Coke
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
are like the two. But Cynar is one of those things where I see it more on craft cocktail menus than I know an iconic drink with it.
Okay.
Yeah, like a wrinkle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like
like people
Yeah.
know. Yeah.
So it really is just within the past like decade or so that people have
Cynar
been
became like popular.
starting using it. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
I've worked
so-
at bars with Cynar in the menu. I've sat at bars with Cynar in the menu.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, it's used, but it's hipsterish in a way. But I would say it's like
yeah.
a step away from like a drambuie.
What causes you to go, I'm going to take an artichoke, amigo? I
don't know, right?
I
Who ate the first lobster? These are
Right,
hungry. These
but-
are hungry people, and people looking to get drunk.
If it's Italian, you got all these great things to make your stuff from, and let's use the artichoke.
Yeah, well, someone has like my mom grows articchokes, so I'm just going to ferment
Yeah,
these
yeah.
overnight and see what I can get with it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
kinda how it
experimentation,
starts,
right?
I guess, right? Yeah.
Mushrooms, another thing. This
Mushrooms. Yeah.
Yeah, this mushroom tastes like beef. This mushroom makes me see God. This mushroom killed Peter. I mean,
You know, people are really into doing like mushroom infusions in their cocktails now.
the whole
really?
mushroom instead of coffee thing. If I have to see one more advertisement for that, I'm going to jump out a window.
Shaga.
You know why I gave up my coffee for mushrooms? Why don't you all just kill yourself right now?
Oh, God.
Take the mushrooms, shove up your ass and up your nose, and shut the hell up.
Random Belligerents Mushroom Coffee Edition.
Like, why can't we have both? Why can't I have coffee and mushrooms?
He's like this drink, bitter.
Yeah, he's very bitter. He is. He's got a sweet start, but he finishes bitter.
I just went Campari all over him.
Ed's a Teenage Riot. Oh, shit. Yeah, round 3 cocktail is called the Burned Popcorn. This will be an interesting one.
All right, we're going to go wash our glasses, and we'll be right back with the third round. Round 3.
Hey, everybody. We're back for our third cocktail, and Ed's going to tell us about it.
Yeah, thanks, Rachel. It's the Burned Popcorn is the name of this one. Ingredients are interesting. Bourbon, rum, Dema-Ra-Ra.
Rah, rah, oh, rah, rah. Ba, ba, oh, God, God.
I love Lady Gaga.
I love
Gaga.
Lady
I love the
Gaga.
bourbon. You know I love rum. And come and drink it, and we'll get you drunk. We'll get you drunk.
Yeah, we'll get you drunk.
All right, so Angostura bitters and orange bitters. This reminds me with the bourbon and the rum, Scott,
Yes.
of that interesting bottle of Hercules McKellen. What was it, McKellen?
Oh,
Hercules Mulligan?
yeah,
that's it.
Yeah, Hercules Mulligan.
You
which
mean
is
the founding father?
yes.
it's a rye,
Taylor and Spy.
a rye whiskey with rum mixed in it, and some ginger, and some bitters. I thought
Yes.
kind of like a bottled cocktail, but I don't think they originally meant that.
No, but it kind of really was.
It was really good. Still have a splash in the back of my fridge.
Yeah.
waiting
So
for me.
this is the Burned Popcorn. As Ed said, it has bourbon. We used a Buffalo Trace bourbon with the recipe calls for 1.5 ounces, a 1/4 ounce of aged rum. Did you use the El Dorado or what?
El
rum did-
Dorado 15 years.
Nice. That's what the recipe calls for. And Anders comes in.
It's nice because I get to go home with a bottle.
Nice. 1/8 ounce of Demerara syrup, a dash each of Angostura and orange bitters.
Nice.
Oh, also, we lit a match and held it over the glass, and Anders expressed a orange peel onto it, so it kind of spritzed orange and then burned it into the glass.
It's like a burnt orange finish.
So we got fire.
I actually have.
Teach you to burn.
I've bottled a method for doing burnt orange oil.
I use fire a lot.
Yes, actually. So, wait. I might want to edit this out, or I could take a shot at Gabe.
Ooh, go ahead, take a shot.
Take a
again.
shot. We'll decide.
Gabe,
We're
you're a
leaving it.
great man. I have a lot of respect for you. I don't know why Ed is so mean. And ever since
And yet.
we did Cocktail Combat, I've been thinking, how do I get more orange into my old fashions without adding more orange into my old fashions?
He
And
stuffed
so-
it with orange, yes.
I have meditated on the highest mountain.
Yes. You went up to K2.
Underneath.
Mount Holly.
Yeah.
No, I just hike there in the mornings. It's very relaxing.
It's nice. There's an old man with a white beard.
Meditated underneath the Marianas Trench. I have floated amongst the stars in ponderance of how do I get more orange into my old fashions.
Yes.
without
How do
adding more
you,
orange.
Anders?
Yes.
I want to know.
So what you do is you create orange extract. You take a little bit of your Whistle Pig overproofed barrel pick, and you put a lot of orange zest, like the zest from like 10 oranges
orange
into
zest.
it, and you let it marry for like a month.
Okay.
And then you do it again with
Yeah.
what you have, and then you get this very orangey extract.
Yeah. You really only need to be married for about a month anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, Ed?
Yeah. 1 month
what it
in love
feels
and
like
1
when it's
month in the
over.
process of annulment. And so you bottle that into a little atomizer, put it around the glass, and add some torch, and then you get this
Jesus.
delightful orange
That's
smoke.
awesome.
So
my God.
Don't shoot yourself in the eye with it.
don't
yeah.
do it.
No, don't do that.
It fucking burns.
I hate when that happens.
I have done that actually. I
mean-
have literally done that to myself.
To that point, this smells like an orange peel. It smells like burnt.
I think it
orange
smells
peel.
disgusting.
Really?
I have to tell you, and this is crazy. This is the worst nose I've had on the podcast.
I'm not getting that at all. I'm getting actually pretty pleasant.
What did you eat before you drank this?
I ate.
You ate those puffed Cheetos.
No, I ate a dark chocolate almond.
Yeah.
Cleanse your palate.
I'll cleanse my palate. but-
Cleanse your nose. Put water up your nose.
This is good nose.
Navage, yeah.
Lavage, yeah.
Good nose. Yeah, Navage.
I mean, I think this smells really pleasant.
Yeah. Now this is burnt popcorn.
Which is a disgusting
Yeah,
nose, by the way.
I don't really know why it's
And
called
I'm
that.
It's not a good name for it. It's not a good descriptor, and
There's
it's not
no
a good
butter,
thing to
yeah.
describe.
And I'm happy it doesn't smell like that.
It's not. Yeah, so I was a little worried about burnt popcorn, but then when I had the list of ingredients in front of me, I'm like,
Those are all
I-
good things.
You
Yeah.
all like the nose.
Light. Yeah.
You all
Yeah.
like the nose.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to give it a glass.
Yeah, well, yeah, use that
No,
one.
because I think this is a better nose than the other two.
Maybe something
that
was
we
in the
had.
glass. You ever get some funky glasses like out of the dishwasher? It's just got a weird smell.
Never.
Yeah, it's because like the position.
Oh
of,
my
like,
God, it was the glass.
Was it?
It smells way different now.
Interesting.
Good, good.
Oh yeah, it's very benign. I don't know what I was here. Take one for the team. Smell my glass. Tell me if it's
His glass.
right. It smells bad, right? It's off-putting.
Yeah, it's a little bizarre.
It smells good.
They're crazy.
I'm good.
Marty's just trolling you.
Rachel's out.
The entire- and Rachel's
I'm
like,
out.
no, thank
I'm
you.
good.
That's a hard no for me.
Yeah, that's a no.
She's like Paula on American.
Abdul.
Oh my God! Somehow you put you into it, but no, it's a no for me.
This
Yeah.
is terrific.
No,
I love
the
this
nose-
cocktail.
Let me retract. The nose is fine.
Yeah.
It smells very nice, very citrusy, it's very nice.
I mean, it tastes.
It's lighter than the others. Yeah, I thought you would like it because the
Oh
others
yeah,
were so bitter, right?
Oh yeah, this is my drink right here.
Oh, good.
As opposed to the previous cocktail, this has all sweet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Like, we got the Buffalo Trace Bourbon.
Yeah.
We have the aged rum, 15 years. We have the Dema-Ra-Ra syrup. And then like bitters and orange bitters. So
just
this is
right to counter it a bit, and a little bit of a bird zest.
Yeah.
This is very good.
You know
This
what
is
I like
very
about it?
good.
I like about it. It's sweet in the front, then it disappears like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, it's not cloyingly sweet. It doesn't stick around.
No, it's perfect.
Yeah, the rum and the burnt citrus really.
Oh my
balances
God!
it
It
out.
just, you know what? Once again, I think something we learned here is we're making so many drinks and washing glasses. Maybe we washed that particular glass of mine a little quick, possibly.
Maybe.
Your fault.
My fault.
I've noticed sometimes I've gotten a suspect ice cube out of the freezer.
Right.
It kind of has freezer smell on it.
Yeah, it's got
and
fish
ruined my
smell.
whole drink. So
Yeah.
I got in the habit of rinsing it for a split second under the just to clear the top coating.
Yeah.
and get to the bottom ice.
Giving a hint of halibut.
Oh my God! Oh my God!
Top tip.
This tastes like
Top
freezer burned toaster strudel.
I would like a hint of halibut in my cocktail.
Hint of halibut.
Yeah,
The way-
I mean, lutefisk sounds lovely this time of year.
Oh my God.
Especially with the artichoke
lutefish?
liqueur. I think it would go
Lutefisk.
great. Yeah.
This is Anders' Swedish side is coming out of
I
him.
think-
Eat that, yeah.
I think Anders will understand this one. The way you get a freezer burned toaster strudel is someone gets greedy and takes 2 icing packs.
Those
So
motherfuckers.
then you leave somebody with a toaster strudel and no icing, and it'll sit there until the end of time. No one's going to eat a toaster strudel without the icing.
I feel that on a deep level, and in solidarity, I would like to quote one of my favorite rap songs of all time. And say, that's why technique don't fucking fall in love with people.
Damn.
Damn.
Oh, gosh. Don't take my toaster strudel packs.
No, seriously, that's a violation.
Yeah.
So, Anders, in your opinion, what rules does this cocktail break?
This breaks the sweet rule.
Oh, too much
Yeah,
sweet.
Too much sweet.
Yeah.
I don't like it. I
Fascinating.
know I'm the odd man out.
No, that's fascinating.
I think it falls a little flat.
Okay.
Hate's
As
a
a
strong
balanced
word.
cocktail, I agree. And I think that's why this is so rogue. The act of firing up the orange peel, do you think that did anything to it?
It can. I don't think this did as much. I would like to take another pass at a variation of this drink if everyone is comfortable with this.
Absolutely.
Because I have notes on this drink.
Okay.
And I might take out an ingredient or two.
All right.
Not a major one. There are things I think that could make this drink better with the ingredients.
This is perfect because I was actually going to ask you if there was a rule breaking cocktail that you could make with the ingredients that we have.
Okay.
But you're already going to do it.
Yes.
So perfect. So besides Anders, I think we all kind of like it,
I like it a lot.
but I agree that it is a little too sweet.
I don't like it as much as the other ones, but I like it. It's pleasant.
Yeah.
But it is pleasant to the point of maybe a little bland.
Right.
Right.
I got you.
Yeah, agreed. It's fades away quick, you know,
Yeah.
and it is a little sweet, but I taste the orange a lot, which I really like.
It's
about
very orangey.
Yeah.
Very orangey.
All right, so we're going to take a little break while he makes one up.
Yeah, we're going to have a bonus cocktail.
Bonus round!
Hey, welcome back. We're ready for our bonus round cocktail. And, bonus. And Honors is going to tell us what it is.
Alrighty. So I took the components of the burned popcorn and I went rogue because I feel like this is going to keep me from getting into that like deep cocktail community. I'm calling this the burned bridge.
The Burn Bridge. Nice. Nice.
So I took equal parts of our Buffalo Trace Bourbon and our El Dorado 15 rum.
Okay.
Half an ounce, which is slightly over, but not too much. But you might say it's like a bend of the rules.
A roguish amount.
A roguish amount of Dema-Ra-Ra syrup and
Okay.
a quarter ounce each of the Angostura bitters, which is a tasteful but rule-breaking amount. So a lot of bitters to contrast a lot of sugar, and then 2 dashes each of orange bitters. In addition to that, I took orange bitters and then a high-proof whiskey, Journeyman Corsets Whips and Whiskey, and expressed that around each glass and then set that on fire.
So out of tune.
So here we have a slightly more bitter and sweet split base cocktail
awesome.
with orange bitters
Breaking all the rules.
burnt around the
The
glass.
Burned Bridge. Oh,
Oh my God, it's
it smells burned. A little.
smells like curry on the nose.
Does smell like curry.
It smells like Singapore noodles to me. I don't know how he made that
you're right.
happen.
That's crazy.
Smells
I don't,
like fucking
I don't know
curry.
how I did
Dead,
that. That
dead
wasn't on
smells like
purpose.
curry.
That is really interesting.
I think it has partially to do with the burnt
Yes, the burning of the orange and the
Yes,
wheat whiskey
yeah.
somehow creates curry.
with all the other ingredients. Okay.
I need to know that for future
Yeah.
endeavors. That's
crazy. Okay.
Fucking cool.
Oh, holy cow.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's the best drink of the night.
Yeah.
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 I got the sweet, and we got the middle, and we got the back end that stays there.
And a little bit of complexity.
Yep, there's no disappearing of anything throughout the whole drink. It's fantastic.
Yeah. This is great.
Yeah.
This is the best of all of them.
Who wrote that pamphlet?
Max Petuniak and Eric somebody.
Max Petuniak and Eric somebody. Fucking fight me. Let's go. Bar battle. Local lounge. You name the time. I've named the place. I am throwing down the gauntlet.
Wow.
All right, so
I
love
challenge
it.
you.
And he's burning bridges as he goes, just like the cocktail.
Let's go.
look for the burnt bridge to be on the local menu sometime.
Seriously.
I think it'd make a great holiday cocktail. It's very complex with all the different spices.
It kind of is.
Yeah.
There is some of that Christmas spice in there,
Yeah,
like
right.
clove and
Yeah.
nutmeg,
That's
especially.
really from the Angostura bitters.
Yeah.
And then
That's
probably a little bit from the split base of the rum because there's more rum, and El Dorado is made with Dema-Ra-Ra demerara sugar as well. So it's layered in. And then the spice from the slightly higher rye and the Buffalo Trace is probably augmenting that a little bit.
You can taste the origins of this drink in the previous cocktail that we made, but you just basically added more complexity, more bitters to balance out all the extra sweetness. And the orange is not as prevalent as it was in the previous drink.
I smelled it again. Right? It smells just like curry. Holy crap. I've never smelled a drink that smells like curry.
Yeah. I kind of want to make my own orange bitters with curry in it.
Yeah.
There's something about that flaming that I can still, it's like a tang
Yeah.
in the air because you taste with all your senses.
I wish we drank 4 of these.
Yeah, you know, actually, well, no, I still think the first one was very
good. Was
good.
good. I'm just kidding. The journey was
This
great.
one has it all. This has, like I said, complexity. It's from the front to the back. There's no weakness. There really isn't. I mean, the last one sort of faded on me. I hate when that happens.
It takes the good part of the burnt popcorn, right? So
Yeah.
there's the light, the
And it adds a little more,
citrusy, you could taste the rum, but it adds a little bit more complexity. So I think you definitely upped it a notch.
The rum's a little bit more prominent in this too.
There's so much depth to it. It's much more of a substantial cocktail than the other one.
Mine's evaporated.
I added a lot more rum.
Surprise.
Down your throat.
The other recipe called for like a quarter of an ounce, and this is 1.5. So there's definitely more rum. It should be probably.
Yeah, and that's why I wanted to do this episode, was because when you think of whiskey cocktails, everybody thinks immediately, and we do too, and I make them all the time, Manhattans. Old fashions,
Right?
Then you might
whiskey sour.
whiskey sour is the top 3.
Boulevardier.
Then you might venture into a Boulevardier or something. But like those 3, the sour, the old fashioned, and the Manhattan are just 3 ingredient drinks that are very easy to make for people at home. But we wanted to stretch here. And when we have Anders on, we definitely want to stretch and use his knowledge.
Good question is, what do we need at home to stretch this, right? Only maybe 1 or 2 other things.
Yeah,
right?
so Anders, go through it again, what you made it with.
So I did equal parts 1.5 ounces of Buffalo Trace bourbon, but you can use any bourbon. I used Dorado 15 rum. Barrel-aged rum would be nice of any kind, but like it's not going to kill you. Goslings won't hurt. Pusers won't hurt.
Kraken?
Kraken, you could honestly use Kraken, and I wouldn't be mad.
The older and the darker, the better.
Yeah, older and darker, the better. You want to avoid like a spiced rum. I used a Dema-Ra-Ra simple syrup. It's 2-to-1. Use sugar in the raw if you have it around you, but any kind of turbinado sugar will work.
Right.
Angostura bitters. Fun fact for any of these cocktails that you have to use a large amount of bitters for, take a butter knife and use that butter knife to pry the kind of cap on top off.
Yeah.
So you can measure it. And then the same with the orange bitters.
And then you set the glass on fire.
Yeah, set the glass on fire.
With orange bitters and a high
orange
proof.
bitters and something high proof, yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. I mean, honestly, it's really not that hard to achieve something like this.
Up our game a little.
I'm a big proponent of using what you have at home to make cocktails. I did a cocktail competition that I entered online where I had to make a cocktail using ingredients at home. And I made a sour using measuring tools that you have at home.
Oh.
Because not everybody's going to have a jigger at home, right?
Right.
But if you have a tablespoon that you use in general and a measuring cup.
Yeah.
So 2 ounces in a jigger is going to be a quarter of a cup. So if you have a quarter of a measuring cup, there's your base. And then you can use 2 tablespoons or X amount of teaspoons in order to do that. So I just wrote a recipe where it was like, all right, use your tablespoon and use your quarter cup of this rather than using bar tools. And rather than making simple syrup, I use jam.
Oh, wow.
So I'm a big proponent. Use what you have at home.
Sure. Experiment.
Yeah, exactly. Use the fundamentals, and that's how you go rogue.
I had no vermouth one time, and I remember Anders saying I use port. Yeah.
Right.
I'm proud of you, Chancellor.
One thing we like to do is when we see bitters out, like chocolate and the blood orange, and
there's so many different types
you just
now.
see it, and you don't use that much of it. Well, except for today, but
when you go rogue,
right? Normally you don't, and just go out and buy a bottle. That's a great thing to have in your cabinet.
Yeah. So, final thoughts, Rachel. What do you think about all these rogue cocktails?
I love deconstructing it, hearing from Anders about what some of the technical rules. I know there are things that I think I mentioned earlier. I like to garden, so I do simple syrups with herbs from the garden. So one of my favorite things,
awesome.
I do basil simple syrup with basil Hayden, and my basil sour
Oh, no.
is one of my favorite cocktails. But I mean,
I'm smelling a new episode of Garden Cocktails.
no artichoke.
No, evidently she does find room in her massive backyard to grow a line of artichokes as well.
No, but But flavors that you love, right?
Sure.
Why not experiment?
Why not?
I love that after we did it, Anders, you could see he was tinkering and he's
Yeah.
like, I want to take another stab at this. I think
know.
I can make this
You
better.
could see
And
the
he
wheels
absolutely did. It was
turning.
so good.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
Marty.
Okay, thoughts on this? And this goes back to my bartending days, and
Sure.
I think about these things, and we're adding different, liqueurs or flavored or whatever you want to call it. But I'm going to go into a story here. But I remember when I bartended, right, and people would go, "Do you know how to make a whatever?"
Sure.
And I would go, "What's in it?" And they'd go, "Well, it's like cranberry, it's vodka." I'm just making stuff up here, whatever it is. And I can make them a drink just based on the ingredients because what tastes good together, right? What combination and what amount of each thing. And I think about this stuff is like, okay, you got a whiskey, you got a bourbon, you got maybe a vermouth, or you got a bitters. You could sort of in your head think about the flavors, think about what's more robust or more potent or, whatever forward, and reduce that a little bit. I think you can make your own concoctions a little bit and go rogue yourself and make some nice drinks.
I think the only rule that you shouldn't break is the balance rule. And it should be balanced among all of the flavors, but it's balanced for you. So everyone has a different balance.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like what Anders said in the third drink that we had, the burn popcorn, it was too sweet for him. So he created the burn bridge, which was much more balanced. And I think for all of our palates, but like could be somebody out there who was like, no, I think the burn popcorn was balanced for me. I really like that one. Or other people were like, for the second drink that most of us found too bitter, Anders and Rachel,
Loved it.
so it wasn't most of us. Most of us were kind of into it.
Yeah.
But I think that's...
And then there was Ed.
That's the rule, and then there's Ed, right?
And then
But
there's Ed.
Another word of advice: if you try something and it doesn't taste great, drink it anyways, and then try it again.
And then try it again, exactly.
Or switch glasses, right?
True.
Evidently.
Yeah. But in that balance, it's also don't think about like things are not a single note, right? Ingredients can be more complex. So I heard what Anders said is one of the drinks that we had is if you take the lead component of each of those things, it shouldn't work.
Yeah.
But there was a sweetness that carried through all those, and that's what helped balance it out.
Yeah,
So,
especially if you're using liqueurs that have a lot of ingredients in them. Like the Cynar
has
had
13 ingredients.
Yeah, and so they're all going to play off each other and like fight each other in like the Teenage Riot.
And you have to know
When to hold 'em.
you have
Know when to fold 'em.
you're not
when
When to walk away.
Know when to run. You don't have to count your money as you're sitting at the table. You'll be time enough for counting when the dealing's done. That was good. No crickets. No crickets.
are we going to do a karaoke episode? Or?
Yeah.
Of course they are.
We're going to do a musical episode.
We're going to do a Christmas
We're going to
album.
karaoke as soon as we're done this episode right now. Nobody move.
Okay.
Oh, holy night.
Nights are calling.
Fall on your knees.
All right, anyway, go ahead.
So better to err towards less ingredients than more.
Yeah.
So the reason that I said the Teenage Riot was hard to make is because with every additional ingredient, you have to factor in how it interacts with all of the other ones.
Yeah.
That's hard to do without getting shit-faced. But it's doable. Sure. And it's fun to play. And it's fun to mess around and create those things.
Honestly, I think you just play with your cocktails.
Yeah.
I do.
Sorry.
Play
everyone.
with your
Cocktail.
So yeah, on that note, Ed, take us out.
I think these cocktails were some of the most interesting ones we've ever had.
Sure.
I can't say that I love them the most that we've ever had, but each time we do an episode like this, it enhances my understanding and knowledge of the science that goes into master mixology.
Absolutely.
And so I thank Anders for his time, and I
Yeah.
thank
Thanks so much, Anders.
Marty and
Thank
Rachel
you.
for,
Thank you.
And Marty and Rachel, of course.
for coming. And
Glad to have you all back.
Marty, how did you feel about it?
About the episode?
Yeah.
Yeah, in general, like other drinks. What do you think?
He did.
I agree 100% with you. I go to my cabinet and I always go, I'm going to make a Manhattan. I'm going to make a Boulevardier. That's really what I have in there. And I got to, experiment. Putting rum in a drink with that? I mean,
sure.
Geez, I got rum all the time. I mean, I love rum. And I never even think about that.
Yeah,
So-
that's another sort of rule break
Yeah.
is to add another base spirit to it
Yes,
and do
right.
split base.
Split base, yeah.
And we're going to probably do an episode about split base cocktails in and of themselves at some point.
Yes.
I'm
Yeah.
going to start experimenting.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I'm going to
Absolutely.
make the best amaretto sour you've ever had in your life.
Nice.
Challenge accepted.
All right. I think that's it.
I'm still pouring whiskey.
I know. He's like, pour more Buffalo Trace out.
we're technically still on the air, so I can keep drinking. He can't stop me. It's part of my job.
I don't think we can stop you in any case.
Right. It's like it'd be easier to stop me sledding downhill than from drinking whiskey.
Oh, shit. Okay, so For the Whiskey Tangent Podcast, I'm Scott.
I'm Ed.
I'm Rachel.
I'm Marty.
I'm Anders.
Have a great holiday. Enjoy your cocktails and cheers, everybody.
Later.